what is your favorite comfort game? I'm excited to see if you guys put any recommendations or any of your favorites down below in the comments, but I typically switch from time to time. Shooters aren't traditionally cozy, but they're easy to digest and play fast. Or other times I might just want to make some awesome memories with my friends. But it always comes down to these two series, and both games I grew up playing. Anything Zelda, really, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Most of the times a vibrant game with some melancholic themes or states, and it just really resonates with me. And the other one being a more chipper and traditional experience. It really is the embodiment of my definition of comfort. Harvest Moon. It really was kind of like the OG of life and cozy sim games. And because of COVID and when Animal Crossing New Horizons came out, I feel as if New Horizons was a factor in establishing the cozy genre across a broader medium of people. I can't really thank it enough because it brought more people into this genre. And there are tons of cozy games nowadays. But today I actually wanted to talk about Harvest Moon Tree of Tranquility for the Wii. Hey, it's Billy, and I'm here to talk about my experience with this game and why it means a lot to me, because I've always felt like it was a sort of underdog compared to the series. I played and spent one whole in-game year, so hopefully I can shine some light on that and my overall experience. And before the video starts, if you guys can drop a like, subscribe, and comment what your favorite comfort game is, that would mean a lot to me. Now, I think we need to start from the beginning.
Your phone ringing! Your phone ringing! Big boy!
No, not my roots, how I got my hands on this game. My sister would often have the neighbors and their friend group sleep over, but one of the things that they brought over was Harvest Moon Tree of Tranquility for the Wii. Next morning, I still saw my sister playing it, and turns out they let my sister borrow the game for, I think it was like a couple months, and I just remember watching my sister from time to time play this game, and I just thought to myself, man, it's chill like that. Whenever she wasn't playing, I would secretly hop on, and I felt like my soul was transported to somewhere I belonged. Look at this glorious Wii disc. I kind of miss when they had covers and like book art for it. I feel like I'm transcending back, and that is partially due to the vibrant and inviting colors, the fun and cartoonish art style, and very light-hearted opening that you get. It's pretty simple. We're gonna go visit Waffle Island, and we're actually gonna start a new life as a rancher, because we found some sort of brochure, and our character was definitely just like, yeah, I want to be a rancher. Big sigh. I wish life was that simple.
I want to be a YouTuber. Please subscribe.
And to keep this as closely knit and authentic as possible to my 2000 whenever experience, I named my character Gale. It's one of the default names that game suggests for you, and I try my best to choose it. It's very nostalgic for me. And bam, our adventure starts, and
tell him to bring out the lobster!
Somehow a random storm was able to brew up, but I guess we aren't like that because we just pass out. But this leads to the overarching story. We end up dreaming of a beautiful, divine lady, hair colored in jade, and it really just feels like an important presence to us, the player. We finally wake up. We figure out that we're being housed by an inn on Waffle Island. Hey, look, we made it. And then we go outside to meet the mayor of Waffletown. And this whole little section, honestly, it's about like an hour or two. It's all the tutorial, so you'll be meeting a lot of the townsfolk. You'll be familiarizing yourself with the town locations and shops, and you'll even learn a bit of farming, as well as the affection system. To some, they might feel like it's slow, but I don't know, it's a very warm feeling for me. And it definitely helps that the initial cast for the tutorial is plenty compassionate and kind of too real. When you get housed for the farming section, and for context, they're building your home at the moment, you're in a floral seed shop, and although the owner's daughter is very sweet, the vibes that the owners give themselves are very much I hate my life energy. So it's super funny, and that's what kind of made the beginning memorable.
I swear I'm hauling ass, I'm plucking these strawberries, and this guy goes,
yeah, did I?
For a whim.
I hate you! I hate the air that you breathe!
Now, after all of that, our house is finally built and we are a permanent resident for Waffle Island. And this opens up a lot, including the story. As more days pass by, you start to dream more and more about this green-haired lady. And eventually you were able to talk to the mayor about it. And after some weeks, the mayor finally warmed up to you to talk to you about Waffle Island's past. There used to be a mother tree on Waffle Island that created beautiful rainbows in the sky. However, the great tree on the island is no more, and so are the colors. There lived a beautiful guardian named the Harvest Goddess, but now the whole land weeps. and the whole island are looking for the rainbow. And along with this information is supposed to be a quilt that is supposed to hold the secrets to getting the rainbows back. And as the main character, when we do get our hands on the full quilt, it reads out that there are guardian sprites that are supposed to help take care of the tree, and those will be key to getting the island back to the way it was. I love the fact that there is a focal objective to find and work together with the harvest sprites, bring back the rainbows of Waffle Island, and to help the harvest goddess. I don't want to compare these to the game of the past because due to age, you're primarily just farming. But I like the fact that those several components I just mentioned are integrated within the story. By creating better relationships with the town folks or using your own crops or produce, even cooked meals, you're able to combine the component to create that rainbow. And although this isn't really why I play Tree of Tranquility specifically, I have my own ways of playing, or rather reason for playing. I love the fact that this idea is really expanded upon for any of the successor games. Of course, a popular one being Stardew Valley. You can see it within the community center. And when you compare it to this game where you only tried to get 5 rainbows, which is about 5 areas in the game, the community center has so many. So I just love that idea. And I also think that it's a good idea to reflect and appreciate the past, especially after seeing it evolve so much in the future. So what makes the core gameplay loop? Well, it's the idea of min-maxing. Now, what is that? Well, to put it simple, it just means optimization. Whether it's your daily life, doing work, doing a project, or even trying to schedule your day, it feels good to optimize the best path. That is the same with video games. It essentially means to minimize a lot of the downtime or wandering and to maximize efficiency and strengths. So in the case of Harvest Moon, I love making money. I want to optimize my time as efficiently as possible so that I can try to get as much money. Farming, fishing, mining, taking care of your animals and produce, foraging, etc. But it doesn't just apply to the money. It also applies to building those relationships with the townsfolk, figuring out a route that works for you, talking to as many people as you can in a day. I love stuff like this. And I'm definitely not as hardcore as a lot of people can be about it. And to an extent, it does help that I have some prior knowledge on Tree of Tranquility. And it kind of makes it more fun. But then there's like an underlying question. Why would I play this instead of Stardew Valley or a more popular game? And I think it's for one singular reason. It is because of the simplicity. If Stardew Valley has a lot of content and things to do, this is definitely smaller in scope. Spring is very much an introductory season. You won't even get all the tools in the game until you start interacting with more townsfolk. I believe you get the sickle from Brownie Ranch, you get some tips and tricks from a lot of the other townsfolk, you get the fishing rod from Toby. Although I didn't really give him that many gifts, or as much as I wanted to, if I wasn't farming, I would be fishing. And that is very much apparent because you have no money in the beginning. So fishing really is just an overall consistent and decent way of making money. And I like the fact that it's just really chill. I only really need to spend about 10-50% of my attention to fishing. Chill enough to where I can basically relax, but if I'm too lax, I'll miss the fish. Other things that you'll be introduced to will be the other tools. There's wood cutting, which really is just related to carpentry related tasks. Things like building your barn, your coop, upgrading your home, etc. There's mining, which overlap with what I just mentioned, but on top of that, minerals and ores can be used to upgrade your tools, creating iron, copper, steel, gold, blah blah blah, which uses less stamina, or you can even make jewelry, which that's pretty cool, but not really my cup of tea. When you do equip the jewelry that you just made, there is definitely a negligible difference, so it kind of sucks. Oh, and another cool thing, your tools have levels. By being proficient in a single tool, you can level it up from 1 to 2 to 3. Level 1 being you work on a 1-to-1 tile square, but being more proficient at a tool, for example, your watering can, and your level 2, you can water up to 3 tiles. And it just increasingly gets better and better as you use tools. And it's pretty awesome. Eventually, you're able to freaking just make a whole storm across your whole plot. Or eventually, you can unlock areas with certain tools. For example, Brownie Ranch. One of the things I needed to do was grind the beginner mines. Not only because once you get to the end of the mines, you get what's called a power berry, permanently increasing your stamina, but by getting level 3 hammer, you're able to open a path to Brownie Ranch a lot earlier. And by a lot earlier, you could also gain access to this area by getting the first rainbow. And yeah, I went on a bit of a spiel there, but like the game is super simple, but you can also progress how you want to progress and how fast you want to progress. It never feels like the game is leaving you in the dark. If you don't do certain things now, you'll still be able to do them later. It's less about the time crunch and panicking about what to do. It really just feels like I'm relaxing. Now at the end of spring, I was able to finally get the items needed to finish up Darren's rainbow, which allowed me to go to Toucan Island, which kind of became my fishing spot of choice because I gotta catch the mahi-mahis, man. Them boys some money. And of course, Brownie Ranch. And what Brownie Ranch is, it's like the central area for buying things for your animals or buying animals to herd, which kind of leads me to summer. On top of the farming and fishing that I already do, now I finally get to herd my own animals. I bought some chickies, and I used to just name them off of One Piece characters. But for this video, I named them after Zelda characters, or as much as I can, in homage to one of my favorite YouTubers, Peanut Butter Gamer. And summer being the fresh air that it is, after I restored the first rainbow, the wild storms and winds of the sea are finally no more, meaning that newcomers are able to get onto the island, meaning that you'll meet more folks. And this was really the start of an important relationship to me, meeting Kathy. Kathy was the first NPC that I tried to get max hearts with. So why is this important? Well, remember when I mentioned that I have kind of a reason for playing this game? Well, it's really about the marriage system. You know, if we're able to roleplay as a high school student in Persona and build an in-game connection with those characters, and I love Persona, right? I don't think it's too far off that this means a lot to me.
Especially because they're not high school students.
So trying to get 10 hearts or max hearts is really like an end game goal for me. It really solidifies that I finished this game, even if I don't really beat it through traditional means, like saving the Harvest Goddess or whatever. Also, Kathy runs a bar and loves to drink. Dream girl. This was also the season where I got to play some minigames, and I realized I'm not built for it. I hate these minigames. They use the Wii motion control still. Not to say that they're bad, they're just very ASS.
S.
God damn it!
And accompanied by these minigames are the festivals or flea markets. Most of the time being some sort of like contest, a place or market for NPCs to sometimes sell unique items and or kind of date events. Once you gain enough hearts with your partner of choice, if you talk to them the day before a festival, for example, like a Starry Night festival, staring into the stars, you essentially ask them out. The next day you meet them at the designated location and you have a nice little date. It's very sweet and makes my heart melt. Or if you don't like the ladies, you can just go forever alone. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's also cool that you have designated events with them as well. So for example, you get like 2 or 3 hearts, they'll give you a gift, and then maybe later they'll actually ask you on a date. It doesn't really feel static, and that you're the only one that can do stuff. I'm literally crying in Forever Alone land. Do you want to eat a lot? Keep them coming! I like guys who eat a lot. Yo! Now the last single best thing about summer is that I got the drip, which outfits can be bought at like flea markets or something like that, or something like the tailor when they actually move into the town. And I know it's like a very small thing, but I like the idea that I'm able to change clothes through different seasons, and it definitely makes me feel more connected to the overall experience. And now it's time to talk about fall. More or less the same thing. I spent time completing rainbows. I think by this point in the game I am 3 out of 5 done. This guy falls off the bridge. Funny moment, and we unlock a new location entirely, which holds another set of mines, which is like 50 floors instead of the 30 originally, and definitely not worth your time because at the end of it, you just get like some sort of food item that restores all of your health. No power berry, very dumb. And you also get stopped by a mama bear, which takes about 2 to 3 weeks of gift giving before they let you pass. And the final location I was able to unlock in my playthrough was the Goddess Springs. And I definitely think you're supposed to do a bit more story because nothing really happens even after you unlock it. And straight up, this is the farthest I've ever gone into this game, let alone in a shorter period of time. But I want to spend some time on this season to talk about some other things that I like about this game or dislike. I've been kind of glazing it a bit, but you know, the game's not perfect. So first thing, the music is fantastic. I think it really sets you in the mood for what you'll be doing, and it's an important part of my experience because games that lack music or an ambient setting or type of vibe can work very well. But I just find myself enjoying the journey more when there is some sort of accompany. Like it's all what I would classify as homey. And for the most part, the sound effects and music have pretty good quality. But I would like to point out that some main tracks or sound effects have this big or weird crunch, lack of definition to it. Fall is a prime example. I feel like for some reason, the track, they might have compressed it too much, or they had to have exported the music with the least amount of quality. Because when you compare to everything else, it low-key sounds like shit. Low-key sounds like you're watching a YouTube video on 240p. Here, give it a listen. And it's a shame because I love this theme with my heart and I will never not love it, but damn man. This is also kind of the point in the game where I am like slowly falling off of the craze. To be fair, most cozy-esque games I really only play 1 or 2 seasons up to summer, but for some reason fall I just fall off, no pun intended. Maybe it's the constant farming, I'm not too sure. But I really wanted to finish at least a year's worth of this game. And it was at this point where I was primarily focusing on wifing up Kathy. She has one of these heart events where it basically forces you to play a minigame. And I already mentioned, I'm not really good at these minigames because of the motion controls and stuff. I basically skipped it until she was 10 hearts and I couldn't marry her. The blue feather item being a gift to someone when they have 10 hearts, which allows you to marry them. Kathy was just like, what is this? So yeah, I had to sit down, spend some time and actually win her minigame, it was kind of a pain to be honest, but a small price to pay for love. And on the 1st of winter, I was finally able to do it. I was able to marry Kathy, and this is really the falling action of the story. It's relatively tame and very relaxed at this point. I love how winter feels, I love the music. It's really not so much about the farming, even though you can still make some pretty good money, but it's really about closing the year on a good note, whether it's for your harvests or relationships. I didn't know this was in the game, but they actually have rival relationships. For instance, let's use Anita and Jin. The game is coded so that they are supposed to get married if you build your hearts with them. And as you slowly visit different locations, the NPCs can get lovey-dovey as well, not just you. And this was kind of cool because I didn't know this was how it was done. I knew it was in the game, but I didn't know how to pull it off. And just the fact that it's an inclusion makes this island have a bunch of life to it. And closing on the last couple of days before my story ends, I needed to celebrate New Year's. I sat down with Kathy and we just kind of reflected on this whole thing, and I don't know, and it's just hard to kind of invoke how I was feeling at this point because it's a little bittersweet, you know. I will not understate how much Tree of Tranquility means to me. Yeah, it's a little sappy, it's a little dopey, it's a little corny, but it has so much heart. And it has my heart, and it filled my childhood in a moment of time where I needed some company, you know. Even now those feelings kind of come back to me, and that's what kind of creates this bittersweet feeling. I also think they just don't make these games the same anymore, whether it's the new Story of Seasons or the current Harvest Moon. I'm not going to go too deep into this, but for a reference, the publisher company and the main company that actually makes the Harvest Moon games, they split off. The current Harvest Moon games that you see nowadays, they are not the same company that actually makes the Harvest Moon games that you know and love. For those vibes, you'll be looking for Story of Seasons because they don't have the rights to the name anymore, or something like that. And they're just alright. I like their remakes definitely a lot more, but it might just be me. Even for the remakes, it's not the same vibes as what it used to be. Now, I love Marvelous's game catalog as a whole. I love Rune Factory, but the series is definitely in a weird spot. Now, I'm just saying, if they make a remake of this game, your boy buying immediately. Effective today. And to wrap this up, Tree of Tranquility is definitely like a top 5 cozy game, sentimental game for me. It checks a lot of the boxes for me to transport away as a form of escapism. And I know that I haven't played it in a while, but thank you for all these years for being here for me when I needed it. I do understand that there is an older brother game, Animal Parade, and supposedly it is more popular. I own this as well. And maybe next year or sometime I feel like I want a little bit more of a homey experience. I would love to try that game and relive the story of Gale, maybe once again. Hey, it's Billy. Now, if you're able to reach this far in the video, I just want to say thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, or if you did, leave a comment down below and let me know why. And if possible, please let me know what your favorite cozy game is. I am dying to hear. Again, thank you so much. Please subscribe if you would like to stay a little bit longer, and I'll be seeing you soon. Peace!